Welcome back to the Scale Builders Guild. Thanks again for watching. Today we're taking a first look at the Team Associated CR12, which must mean it's 12th scale.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
I was very fortunate enough to have Team Associated send me the CR12 for this initial review. Some of you may recognize this truck. It's actually the Thunder Tiger 12th scale Toyota truck. Same truck, different body. Team Associated decided to get a Ford license for this truck, and I'm very happy they did. It's a nice looking truck. One thing right away that will throw you is that it is very small in comparison to what the typical 10th scale RC truck might look like. I've got it here up against the Axial SCX-10 2 Blazer just so you can get a size comparison. It is very small. My initial impressions are, though, that it's a very good-looking truck. Yes, there are body pins, yes, it's a Lexan body, but Associated did go to lengths to put a plastic molded front grille and bumpers and rear tail lights, as well as door handles and mirrors. So there's definitely a lot of texture and a lot of depth to this body. It looks a lot better in person, certainly, than it does on the box. This is Associated's first foray into the scale RC truck market, and I think it's a great first step. This is definitely testing the market, seeing what the market will bear, and I think that it's sort of maybe even a litmus test to see what else is possible going forward. So will we see more from Associated? I certainly hope so, because this, if this is their first release, is a good indication of where they want to take this market. First and foremost, like any good first look, let's check out the box. There are a lot of nice graphics on this box. They took some time to do some nice outdoor photography. It's got your Ford licensing, it's ready to run. And that ready to run, I should note, that ready to run means that it actually does come with a lithium polymer battery in the box. And many times when you say RTR, usually that means you still need to add batteries. All batteries are included in this truck, even the ones for the transmitter, so that's a definite plus. You can tell that Associated really was doing their homework when they put this truck on the market. They specifically call out Sorca in their description on the box, meaning that this truck will be Class 1 and Class 2, Class 2 compliant out of the box. Would I run this in Class 1 or 2? Well, we're waiting. Class 1, maybe. Class 2, I don't know. That's challenging for sure, but I guess maybe you could go around obstacles instead of going over them. Maybe they're thinking that through. While it meets minimum specifications of Class 1 and 2 for Sorca, there are a lot of elements here that would put you at a significant disadvantage. Out of the box, ready to run, maybe not, but with some modifications, who knows? Maybe this could be a very competitive little truck. I'm going to go over some of the features that they call out on the box here. Metal front CVA and rear solid axle shafts with 12mm hex adapters. Metal 4-link front and rear suspension. Fully adjustable threaded fluid-filled shocks. Chassis mounted servo. A 13.98:1 ratio on the 3-gear transmission with integrated motor mount. Plastic low friction slider type drive shafts. 16-piece metal shield ball bearing set throughout the truck. 2.4 GHz XP transmitter and receiver, water-resistant Reedy power speed control with high current T-plug, Dean's plug connector, a Reedy brushed 380 series motor, a lithium polymer 7.2 volt 2-cell battery and charger, a black anodized aluminum battery radio tray with hook and loop hold-down straps, spring-loaded heavy-duty servo saver, chrome-plated front and rear bumpers and grille, and chrome-plated scale 1.55 wheels with soft compound off-road tires. Now for the money you're spending on this little truck, that is a pretty significantly long feature list. Let's dive into the truck itself and go top to bottom, see what we've got in store. So here it is out of the box. You can tell that it is a Ford licensed F-150 custom step-side truck. The rear tail lights are a nice addition, as well as door handles, mirrors, and the molded front grille and bumpers. It's a nice looking truck. This is a fairly decent Lexan pop, and definitely has a unique look, something we haven't seen in the market in a while. It actually kind of looks a bit like a Blackfoot, if I'm honest. The CR12 also includes a front set of LEDs. Let's pull off the body clips and take a look on the inside. If you're at all familiar with RC scale accurate style trucks, this is a very standard sort of look. Motor transmission in the middle, ESC, servo up front, steel C-channel rails, which is a very nice thing to see in such a small scale. Threaded shocks at all four corners, solid axle front and rear, and nice big long battery tray that also houses the ESC and receiver all in one piece. There are plastic sliders on either side, which is a nice little addition. And metal links. At this price point, again, metal links definitely is a nice little bonus. As I said before, you do get a LiPo battery included, as well as batteries for the transmitter. This is an 850 milliamp hour 2-cell LiPo battery. For a 380 size motor, should give you plenty of runtime. The Reedy ESC is a 2 to 3 cell LiPo compatible ESC, water resistant, functions in brushed mode only, but does offer a regular or crawler style drag brake. The included XP120 radio system is a 2-channel radio, which is really all you need for a small truck like this. Nice decent foam on the wheel, has a nice little brake rotor behind it for a little bit of detail. It is a little difficult to operate it one-handed, but it is possible if you need to do some filming while you're driving at the same time. The chassis mounted servo is mounted right up front. It's got metal tabs holding it to the chassis rail, which is pretty substantial, and there is a very, very large servo saver built into that servo. Presumably that's added to help give some life to a probably weaker style servo. It is an RTR, we're not expecting super strong servos out of the box, but having a servo saver on there is definitely going to add to the longevity of that servo. The brushed 380 size motor has its own little transmission mounted to it. It seems to be all one piece, very easy to maintain, and sealed from what I can tell quite well, so not a lot of dirt or debris is going to get into that transmission. Flipping the truck over, the axles are of a plastic material, metal links though, as said before earlier, so it's nice to see that there's definitely some strength in those links. CVAs or CVDs, XVDs, whatever you want to call them, up front for steering, and that gives a nice amount of throw. Although the links are metal, the steering drag link is plastic, and I presume that that's to help, again, in the longevity of that front servo. Drive shafts are plastic as well, with metal balls. For a truck of this size, I'm not expecting to see metal drive shafts anyway, certainly not at this price point. The pumpkins are quite large in relation to the rest of the truck. I presume that they've put a lot of gearing into those, and they're probably pot metal gears, but again, because of its small stature and diminutive size, it doesn't need to have a lot of beef built into it. Transmission does take up a lot of space, and it does appear to be quite low onto the chassis, which is great for weight distribution, but it does kind of hamper it when it gets caught up on a rock. I did have an opportunity to take this truck out and play with it a whole bunch before this review, and that was one of the things where rocks definitely did catch on that center mounted transmission. The tires are of a very soft compound. One thing I noticed right away though is that there is no foam in those tires. They are completely foamless, and I thought that that was going to be a huge disadvantage to the truck. And actually, because it's such a small truck and doesn't have much weight to it, I didn't really notice much of a performance difference. They actually hooked up quite well on the rocks, and I was actually fairly impressed with how well it did despite not having any foam in the tires. The shocks, as mentioned before, are oil filled. They're plastic bodied, so they're not probably going to last very long. Despite its size, there is an awful lot of articulation in that suspension setup. It does a good job of crawling over obstacles. It's definitely got enough torque in that transmission to pull itself over obstacles, and I never found myself getting bound up. They could have skimped on a lot of different areas, but they chose not to. So nice to see that they spent some time and effort building out a truck to be sort of As good as its bigger counterparts, but in a much smaller package. It's nice that there are 12mm hexes. You could change out the wheels and tires, put whatever on there you wanted. They will have to be quite small though, because this is a 12 scale size truck. I'm sure that you could find some excellent replacements from RC 4-wheel drive in that 3.85 or 3, maybe even a 4.19 inch tire would look just fine under here. So some of the likes for this truck. I like the body. I think it's refreshing to see a Ford. It's nice to have some detail built into that body as well. I like its small stature. If you're a city dweller like I am, maybe this is the kind of truck for you. It doesn't take up a lot of room, can certainly have a lot of fun with it in a smaller space. I love that it's RTR, true RTR out of the box, with all batteries included. It's nice that they included a larger battery tray so you can upgrade from the included 850 milliamp hour battery. They definitely did their homework with their decision to put a chassis-mounted servo instead of an axle-mounted servo. LED light kit is a nice welcome addition, and the price point is very hard to beat. I think Associated did a great job putting out this truck. It's their first truck into this scale market, and I definitely expect some big things from them. This is a great first step, and I would definitely recommend it to someone who is looking to get into the hobby, wants to try it out, but doesn't want to make a big investment right away. I like it. I think it's got a lot of potential too. This is definitely the sort of chassis that would lend itself very nicely to building something other than a Lexan shell on top. Perhaps this could be your first scale accurate, fully scratch built truck platform. There's definitely been a tiny tire revolution in scale accurate trucks lately. Definitely getting into the 1.55s and even smaller. There's something really nice about the challenge of a tiny tire truck. And I think this 12 scale truck takes it to the next level of challenge. It's much smaller than you're used to, and it makes a whole new challenge of obstacles that you may be already familiar with at your scale park or your backyard or the trails you usually go to. I think it's a fun first step into this hobby, and almost maybe even a refresher course for people who have been in it for such a long time that they've gotten used to the slightly larger trucks. From a performance standpoint, is the AE CR12 going to be able to compete with the likes of an SCX-10 II or a TRX-4? Probably not. Is it going to be able to stand on its own against an ECX Barrage? That's an interesting question and something that I'd definitely like to check out soon. I do have plans to pick up a Barrage, but for other reasons entirely, not necessarily the Comparo. But why not? Let's see if we can get these two trucks to do the same sort of trail and see how they fare against each other. If you'd like to see something like that, post up in the comments below. I'd like to hear your feedback. And of course, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you again on the next one. Thanks so much for watching.